What up, Salvador Briggman here. Welcome back to the Crowdfunding Demystified YouTube channel. On this channel, we love to talk about crowdfunding and specifically different platforms that are out there like Kickstarter, Indiegogo. We also talk about equity crowdfunding, real estate crowdfunding, nonprofit crowdfunding, you name it. And today, I really want to talk about one of the biggest platforms that's out there, which is Kickstarter. And more specifically, what is it used for? Because I've been getting this question a lot more by different readers of my blog, crowdcrux.com. Like, hey, we talk a lot about this Kickstarter thing. Like, what the heck is that and what is it used for? So I want to address and answer that question in today's YouTube video. I hope you enjoy it, and it's coming up right after this. All right, man, so what the heck is Kickstarter used for? So I actually kind of had the same question, back in the day. So back in the day when I was starting my blog, CrowdCrux, in 2012, I was doing a logistic regression comparing different categories on Kickstarter. And I was really following a lot of different academic research as well out there by Ethan Mollick. And I think that this is really when Kickstarter was starting to have its heyday, right? When it comes to really trying to understand, like, why are these projects being millions of dollars being funded, right? And seeing, campaigns as well, like a potato salad, a guy just making potato salad raised $50,000 online to do this particular campaign, and it like went viral, right? And he just literally was just making potato salad. So there's a lot of confusion out there in terms of what the heck is Kickstarter used for. So I'm gonna kind of break this down, first of all, in terms of what is it used for, who uses it, and how you can use this, and particularly for, the common students that I particularly have. Okay, so let's get started. First of all, what is it used for? So based on the website, it's used to actually fund creative projects, but it kind of goes beyond that. So it's used in any kind of category that's out there that's listed on the website to fund projects or to fund campaigns which do not yet exist in the real world. So this could be a project, a product, an initiative, a campaign, something like that to produce an end item. Now that end item is usually a product of some kind or an event or something that you can share with other people, and people raise money on this website in order to make that thing happen. Okay, so if you want to think of it, for example, I'll give you a couple of different examples. Let's just say for one example, you have invented a whole new card game, okay? And you have this kind of idea of like a prototype for this card game, and you're kind of wondering, like, is there people out there that actually want to try this, play it, own it, buy it, right? So you decide to launch a crowdfunding campaign for this. And you say, you know what, if we raise $15,000, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to produce this card game for the world, and we're going to sell this online. So what you do is you'll launch a Kickstarter campaign, and then if that campaign is successfully funded, you can then deliver those cards to all those people that have supported you around the world, and the project moves forward. Usually, I'd say the vast majority of the people that I work with tend to build businesses if they have a successful campaign. So maybe you're an inventor and you've invented a whole new product, or you're a product designer, or you came up with a whole new invention, right? That's going to leap forward some kind of major problem that's out there, or something that's even like a gadget or a gizmo or a backpack or a wallet, a design product, something like that. You could go to Kickstarter and you could be like, okay, I want to get this out there, but I need to hit a particular minimum order quantity when it comes to the factory. Also, I want to see, do people want to own this thing, right? I want validation of demand. So when you launch this Kickstarter campaign, if it reaches its goal, you can then move forward with actually producing this particular product, and also obviously paying for a lot of the different things that go into getting that product made. And all of a sudden, whereas no one before owned this thing and had it in their hands or had it in their home, they can now actually have this around the world in their hands, in their home, be using it every single day, getting a product into the wild, and it's all because of Kickstarter. I'll give you one more example, and then we'll talk a little bit more about some of the ways in which it's used. Last example would be, let's say that you are a film producer, or you're a musician, or you're a writer, right? You're writing a new book or something like that. I actually love writing. I've written 10 books, right? This is something where you can then say, you know what? I want to write this new film script, or I want to get a film out there, or I want to get a play out there. Put a play. I've had friends who, raise 10K to do a film, to do a play in New York. I've also had film campaigns that have been successful, right? A lot of my friends love doing that in New York as well. So you could, if you wanted to, raise money and say, hey, I'm trying to do a film about this particular topic, maybe about minorities, or about LGBTQ, or about this, or about that, right? You could talk about any kind of subject you want to, and maybe do a campaign around that. And let's just say if you raise the amount you want, maybe that's 50K, maybe it's 100K, whatever it is, you move forward with actually producing this particular film. And then you can pay for actors, you can pay for locations more, right? And you can kind of go from there, but you can jumpstart this whole thing with a Kickstarter campaign. So at this point in the video, you should be a little bit more aware that Kickstarter is used to fund creative projects, but it kind of goes beyond that, right? It goes even to products, even goes to things that are like more creative in nature when it comes to like board board games, card games. It could also be even bands that are raising money for their next album. It could be film producers that are raising money for the next indie project, right? So many different types of projects, and you can look at the different categories on Kickstarter and you can see what are the types of projects which are being launched every single day. What are the types of campaigns that are being funded every single day? And you can see all of that information there. Want to take all the stress out of fulfilling your Kickstarter rewards? Fulfillrite is the turnkey solution that puts product delivery on autopilot. The Top Campaigns uses trusted high-tech provider to store, package, and ship their products. Focus on growing your business. Leave shipping to the experts. Don't wait. Get a custom quote from Fulfillrite today. Link in the description. So we talked about what it's used for, right? Which primarily is funding, validation, helping to pay for costs, marketing, because you get tons of exposure doing one of these campaigns, and to really jumpstart the process of building something from nothing. Kickstarting something, really great name, right? When it comes to that, who is it actually used by? So this is something I think is actually more interesting, which is who typically is launching a campaign and who is very successful when it comes to these projects. So if you've ever been wondering that, go and listen to my podcast, Crowdfunding Demystified. I publish a version of the podcast here on YouTube. I also got one on iTunes, on Spotify. You can go and check it out at crowdcrux.com/iTunes, and I'll try and include that link down below if I remember to. But there are a lot of different people out there that I bring on and interview them from many categories, sharing with you exactly why they chose Kickstarter, why they did this, how they got funding, sort of like the keys to the kingdom, if you will, when it comes to what is the strategy that goes into one of these major raises. I'm talking like 6- and 7-figure raises, right? And I really have a very candid discussion with that person, and I say, hey, what actually got you the most funding? And they tell me these answers because they respect the community that we have so much, and they're willing to come on the show and share this information with you guys, which is so cool, right? That's amazing. That's been my passion ever since I was young, is to help put out quality education and information for people. So I really am excited about that. That being said, to kind of go more into this point, who is launching this campaign? Typically, it's someone who wants validation when it comes to the product. They don't want to waste years of their life thinking, could this exist? Could this not exist? So they decide to actually get to kind of like a point where they're like, you know what, this is my pivot point. If I have a successful campaign, that will allow me to have funds, that shows demand, it allows me to get serious about this, put together a great pitch, right, when it comes to the video and campaign page, put this out there and see how people resonate. And if it does get lots of funding, where I had this guy on my show the other day who literally got like hundreds of thousands of dollars in funding. He's like, dude, I did not expect that, right? Now all of a sudden you have the amazing problem of tons of people that want to own this, right? So you can actually create a business out of that, and you can create an online store, or you can create a movement even if you wanted to out of that, and have this entire community of people that really value your brand and the product and all these different things. So typically there's also people that want a kind of a higher purpose, I would say, because the average person who's just trying to like, you know what, Sal, I'm just trying to make a lot of money, I'm trying to do this really fast, really quick. Those people tend to be interested in other forms of e-commerce or other forms of getting funding. I would say one of the biggest hallmarks of a lot of creators out there, people that watch my channel, people that really are successful, is that not only do they want to create something, but they also want to make meaning. They want to impact the world in some way. They want to get feedback, obviously, on their creation, and they do want to get funding, and they want to jumpstart this process, but they also want to impact the world. They want people to own their products, in different corners of the world, to benefit from its use, to have those incredible success stories, to build a brand that has real strong values, and maybe those values are related to sustainability or environmental conscious behavior, or anything. Right? It could even be minority or something like that. I've had some great campaigns, thinking just off the top of my head, like Book of Colors. Like that was such a cool publishing project with many different heroes from different kinds of backgrounds. Or you have other campaigns as well, and different books that have been published, that like Goodnight Story for Rebel Girls, who came on my podcast, and they raised a massive campaign which was to empower young kids and young girls to look up to heroines, right, instead of heroes. So it was such an interesting project. So I'd say one big hallmark is that a lot of creators want to make meaning in some way. The final thing that I will leave you with in this particular video when it comes to who Kickstarter is for and also how you use it is that this tends to be the beginning of something. So if you want to think about like chapters in a book, okay, some people do see Kickstarter as like the culmination, as like, this is just a one-off project that I wanted to do. I didn't want to do anything after this, but typically it's actually the beginning chapter. So you have like the intro or the forward, right? Or something like that, where that's really working on this project, having the idea, getting obsessed about it as we all do, us entrepreneurs and creative types and inventors, bringing something out there. But then there's like the first chapter. And the first chapter is Kickstarter, because that's really where something new comes into the world. And thereafter, you might decide to launch a new campaign. I've had people launch like 20 plus campaigns on Kickstarter because they have a community. They can easily get all these different campaigns funded very readily, right? Or maybe you decide to transition from there into doing e-commerce and to creating an e-commerce brand right from scratch and to using your community that you've built to kind of power that. Other people out there are like, you know what? I've created this IP and now I want to sell this. I mean, that's a great example. The Oculus Rift, it started on Kickstarter and then it was sold to Facebook for like billions of dollars. So there's all these different ways of navigating this. Maybe you want to sell to someone else. Maybe you want to open up your own business. Maybe you want to do a one-off project. Maybe you want to become a Kickstarter veteran, as I like to say, and really get masterful at launching these different campaigns time and time again. So you get any of your invention ideas or product ideas or game ideas funded very easily. Whatever it is, I think that these are just some of the common ways in which people will use the actual Kickstarter platform. So if you want to talk about how this would work for you, if you want to get more into strategy, if you want to talk about the tactics that go into a successful campaign, if you are in the idea phase, the prototypes phase, the product phase, or you're getting very close to a campaign and you really want to dot your I's and cross your T's, you want to have the maximum impact when it comes to this moment in your life, this chapter in your life, book a one-on-one coaching call with me down below. These are intensive coaching calls. I've had so many different variety, a wide array of students over the years from many different backgrounds, from different locations, whether that's from Australia or from Canada. I've had people from Hong Kong, literally Spain, like all over, and they all have said this has been such an extremely useful experience because they pack so much value into those intensive coaching calls. If you want to learn more about that, again, go and check out the link down below. But I hope you enjoyed this particular video. Give me a thumbs up if you liked it. Leave a comment down below if you found it to be helpful. Come subscribe if you have not yet, if you want more content just like this. Again, my name is Salvador Briggman, and I will see you next time.